Hey there, everybody. My name is Tom of MTG Radio, and oh, we apparently don't like this person. Alright, we gotta beat him first. Smile pretty. Who's Smile pretty? That's the Edric player? Oh, we can kill the Edric player first. That's not that hard. Alright, so we are playing... No mulligans. Sorry. Hey there, guys. My name is Tom Dealey of MTG Radio, and today is a very special day. Unlike the other days, today we get to play EDH. That's right, EDH, the best casual multiplayer format in Magic the Gathering. And today, I got a really special deck for you. This one is Mirko Vosk, the Mind Drinker. Now, Mirko Vosk, the Mind Drinker, you may have seen him on the channel before. 3 blue. This is not going to be fun. We're going to press F8 here. 3 blue and a black for a flying 2/4. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, that player reveals cards from the top of their library. So he or she reveals 4 land cards and puts those cards into his or her graveyard. Mirko Vosk decks excel at kind of doing 2 different things. One of them... Sorry, excel at doing 2 different things. The first being like a blue-black vampire tribal deck. The second being a mill deck. Our deck is neither of those things. In fact, we rarely use our general. Our deck is based off of using Shadow and the Shadow ability to really generate a great advantage over the course of the game. Ooh, Lightning Greaves, that's great. So, as you may know, the Dimir, originally from Ravnica, now brought back and returned to Ravnica, are a guild of Ravnica, the Blue-Black Guild, in fact, originally using Transmute, now using the Cipher ability. They also like to strike from the shadows, which gave me the inspiration to, well, make a deck that uses Shadow and Cipher in order to make sure we get multiple Cipher hits in. Super fun deck to play, was honestly a really fun deck to make, and a deck I really do... As you can tell, really do like. So I love featuring it. We're going to play it until it wins, is the idea. We've been recording a lot of these games. We're playing it until it wins. I don't know about this game, but we're going to try our best. So we're playing Mirko Vosk, and that's a quick rundown of him. Now the next deck we're playing, it's going to be Edric, Spymaster of Trest. Now Edric, for 1 green and a blue, is a legendary elf rogue. He's a 2/2. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller may draw a card. Funnily enough, a card we definitely want on the battlefield, just because our cards are all very evasive and just interact super well with Edric. The reason why you always play a swamp first in this deck is because we have multiple double black creatures. Just putting it out there. So yeah, so there's a lot of different ways Edric decks run. One of the main ways that Edric decks work is by utilizing very small creatures that have very small abilities, and then using them to generate a large advantage by casting Edric and just constantly drawing cards. Stuff to watch out for from this deck: look out for Beastmaster Ascension. It is a kill on-site card in this deck. Actually, probably the scariest card in the entire deck is Beastmaster Ascension, so you cannot let it resolve. Besides Beastmaster Ascension, stuff to watch out for: Archmage Ascension isn't as good. Archmage Ascension is never as good as Beastmaster Ascension. There's a lot of different ways to build Edric decks. Another popular way to build Edric is a blue-green elf deck, using the elf tribe to kind of give your creatures a little bit more punch or a little bit more power. Also, watch out for overrun effects. It's a very good way to turn a lot of small creatures into a lot of really big creatures, as well as cards like Kamal Fisticrosa, which give this deck multiple overrun effects. Looks like we're going to take the first 2 damage, you know, because we're the scary deck. In response, our Azami Lady of Scrolls deck is going to bounce Edric. Best idea so far. So the next deck we're playing against is going to be Azami Lady of Scrolls. For 2 triple blue, we have an 0/2 legendary human wizard. You can tap an untap wizard you control to draw a card. Now there's a lot of different builds for Azami Lady of Scrolls. One is a combo-tastic Azami deck where you play cards like Mind over Matter to draw through your entire deck, mill it into your graveyard, and win by doing that. There's also the Tribal Wizard deck. Actually, the most popular version is the Tribal Wizard deck, and that's what we're going to be playing against. Cards to watch out for in the Tribal Wizards deck. Watch out for Kaibood. Kaibood, also known as Void Mage Prodigy, allows you to sacrifice wizards to counter spells. Azami herself, an amazing card. Actually, something to really watch out for, as well as Psychosis Crawler, which lets this deck just pump out way too many creatures. Lets this deck put out a lot of damage on the battlefield really quickly, but using Psychosis Crawler to ding your opponents every single time you tap a land. Obnixilis is the last deck we're playing against. 3 double black for a legendary demon. It's got Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may have target player lose 3 life. If you do, put 3+1/+1 counters onto Obnixilis the Fallen. Definitely a creature we're going to be watching out for. This guy gets big very quickly. Cards to watch out for in this deck. Funnily enough, Walking Atlas, very good. Getting multiple triggers off of Obnixilis is very powerful. Also important information, that losing 3 life is not combat damage, and as such does not count for commander damage from Obnixilis. Ooh, Ludero Core. That's awesome. So we kind of have a problem. How do I put this? We can't cipher on to our creatures if they have Shroud with Lightning Greaves. That being said, I think my plan is to go Ludero Core this turn, suit him up, attack, draw a card, discard a card. Then play Somnophore, suit him up, attack, keep Obnixilis tapped. So we're going to lay down the Ludero Core here. We're going to suit him up with good old Lightning Greaves. Bwop! And we're going to attack in at Smile Pretty. Now Ludero Core, a cubable card. Cubable is then played in MTG Cube. Lets you draw a card and then discard a card. Loot. When you deal damage to an opponent. So we're going to send 1 damage in that way. You'd think it'd be a good idea to attack the Obnixilis deck. No, it isn't. We don't want to be attacked back for 8 at the very least. So going to send the damage this way, and we're going to pass. Now cards to watch out for in the Obnixilis deck. Funnily enough, Dauthi Embrace, amazing in that deck. Gives Obnixilis evasion, turns this deck into a very good Voltron commander. Coastal Piracy. I think we're actually going to discard Quiet Spike. Coastal Piracy is just so good in our deck, and we need the 4th land. Ugh, we probably should have discarded Dauthi Embrace, actually. Darn it. Definitely the wrong discard there. That being said, let's see what we can do. Our Sakura Tribe Elder sacrifices itself for an island. It's going to keep going. Oh, also, Deranged Hermit. Absolutely amazing in the Edric deck. Just bonkers good. So, another card to watch out for. I know there's a lot of cards to watch out for, but seriously. Devoted Druid. Bonkers. Fabricate coming out for the Edric deck. Very interesting. Going to search the library for an artifact and put it into his hand. He might be getting Skullclamp? Mana Crypt. Ooh. Wonder what he's going to do with that. Oh, he's going to play another land. And then... what? Is he going to recast his general? Seems like a lot of hoops to go through to recast your general, sir. Oh, Edric coming back out. Spore Frog's going to get in, attack us. He can always sacrifice Spore Frog to prevent all combat damage. Very important to pay attention to, obviously. So we're going to take 1 measly little damage. We will take it like a champ. He does draw a card, though, so works for him. Speaking of drawing cards, we'll talk about Sage of Fables real quick. Each other wizard creature you control enters the battlefield with this +1/+1 counter on it, and you can remove a +1/+1 counter from a creature you control to draw a card. There's actually a wizard equipment, I think from Morningtide, called Diviner's Wand, that automatically attaches to wizards, and whenever you draw a card, that creature gets +1/+1, which is actually very scary with the Azami Lady of Scrolls. So if you have Diviner's Wand on the battlefield, you play Azami, then you play Mind Over Matter, you can make her like a 25/25 and just start beating in at your opponents very quickly. So watch out for that. That's probably never going to happen in your games, to be fair. But it is something that has the possibility of maybe happening once. So watch out for that very corner case possibility occurring to you. So we did talk about Somnophore earlier. 2 double blue for a flying 2/2. Whenever it deals damage to a player, you tap target creature that player controls. That creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step for as long as Somnophore remains on the battlefield. You do have to attack the player, so I do want to keep Obnixilis back. We talked about it before, but one of the main problems of this deck is that all of our creatures have Shadow, and because they have Shadow, we can't block anything. Shadow creatures can only block and be blocked by creatures with Shadow. So we're going to make sure we keep this guy tapped. The same reason why in an earlier game we kept Ajik tapped. We just can't start taking 6 damage chunks from Obnixilis. It means we lose the game most of the time. So we're going to try and avoid that as best as we can. That being said, if Wound Reflection comes down, jeez, really? Alright, Wound Reflection coming down. We definitely have to keep this Obnixilis tapped. So Wound Reflection for 5 and a black. At the beginning of each end step, each opponent loses life equal to the life he or she lost this turn. So each of these Obnixilis hits is now going to hit for 6 instead of for 3. And we actually take 4 in total from the Crypt Gas. Ooh, Mirko Wellspring coming down. I love this card. For 2 mana, Mirko Wellspring enters the battlefield, or if it's put into the graveyard, you may search your library for a basic land, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Ooh, oh, Nightveil Spectre. You don't say. So Nightveil Spectre for trips. sorry, triple blue-black hybrid, is a flying 2/3, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, yeah, we're just playing Silent 4. I really can't risk this Obnixilis hitting us even once. Right now he deals 19 damage just from hitting somebody. So yeah, can't actually happen. Not allowed. Yeah. We are also going to attack Gluteal Core this turn. Once again, he can't block. So there's this is like having unleashed creatures. Your shadow creatures can't block. So never leave them back to block. I've done that before. It's embarrassing. so don't fall for the same things I fall for every once in a while. It's important. Plus, each of these creatures are going to draw us a card, which will be better loot targets. We do have to make sure we stack the triggers correctly, though. So click this one. Plus, they're app-nap triggers, which is great. So the non-active player's triggers will go on the stack above ours. So no matter what, we'll draw these two cards first, which is good. We will say yes to both. And yes to this one. We're probably still discarding Doth Embrace. It's just, ooh, Shadow Rift. Oh gosh, Shadow Rift. Well, welcome to the club, Shadow Rift. Yeah. Oh, Evolving Wilds. Actually, do we need Doth Embrace? I really wish we had kept that Quiet Spike earlier. So Doth Embrace is good when we draw a lot of creatures that don't have Shadow. We can give them Shadow, give them a block ability for double black until end of turn. Also really good if you want to make sure your opponent doesn't have blockers. You can give all their blockers Shadow when somebody else is cracking in at them. And then their stuff becomes unblocked, which is really cool. It's actually a much more political card than it looks like. Because it looks like we're going to need our cards untapped. And next turn I want to be able to play Call of the Nightwing. I think we're actually going to discard... Jeez, I think... Well, Edric's on the... No, not Coastal Piracy. Let's discard the Evolving Wilds. We'll keep the Swamp in hand. And we will pass. Alright, let's see what our Edric deck has up his sleeve. Still very surprised that he got the Mana Crypt over everything else. It's possible he has something like Terrastodon in hand. I would actually love for this guy to have Terrastodon. Getting rid of Wound Reflection, and I don't even care if he gets Lightning Greaves. Getting rid of Wound Reflection would be great for everybody. I do like how he just got dealt 3 damage by his Mana Crypt. That's going to be turned into 6 damage because of Wound Reflection. Which, I'm not going to say deserving, because that's the correct word. That's 100% deserving. Please attack the mono black player. Come on now. He's at 38 life. He's going to wrath the board this turn. Yeah, there you go. Good job. So he's going to draw 2 extra cards after his attack phase. Other really good cards in this deck, Nacatl War Pride, surprisingly enough. The thing is, the weird part about Edric decks is because they're so filled with 1 and 2 drops, they don't have a lot of cards at the top of the curve. You need to be able to go 1 drop, 2 drop Edric, and just keep drawing cards that way. So you have like room for like 4 or 5 drops, 3, 6 drops, and maybe a 7th drop, and it's always a Vendor Zendikar. So it's always interesting to see what the Edric high end is. Knowledge Exploitation, targeting the mono black player. 5 double blue for a rare rogue sorcery from Morning Tide. It's got a prowl of 3 and a blue. That means if a rogue dealt damage, you can cast it for its prowl cost. You search target opponent's library for an instant of sorcery. You may cast it without paying its mana cost. Then that player shuffles into her library. I wonder what he's going to get here. He may just get... He's not going to find an answer to Wound Reflection unless he has all his dust off the top. So he might just look for a way to kill Obnixilis or to kill Cryptgas. We could see a Barter Blood coming down. Yeah, let's see what happens here. I'm assuming we're going to get some sort of kill spell because Obnixilis still deals 6 damage whenever land comes into play, which is pretty silly because Wound Reflection triggers off a loss of life. So we'll see what happens here. On top of that, if that wasn't bad enough, land drops deal 6 damage. Every single stored trigger deals 2 damage. It's a delayed triggered though, so he doesn't gain 2 life. But oh, he's just going to get a Wrath effect. Okay, so he's going to cast Life's Finale, targeting our Azami deck to get Cryptgas and Obnixilis off the battlefield. I do agree with that play. Makes me kind of glad we didn't discard Doth the Embrace. Next turn we'll be able to play Nightveil Spectre and equip it up and swing in, which is good. We might want to start Vosking people, but I already mentioned this before. We're not a mill deck. Playing Mirko Vosk doesn't actually help our end game or our full goal. I don't know how to say that correctly. So either one of those. So we're not going to cast Mirko Vosk. We're definitely just going to cast Nightveil Spectre. Leave up as much blue mana as possible and attack the Azami deck. Actually, we should do it without playing a land, so we might be able to play a land from them. Which is actually really cool. That's one of the coolest parts about Nightveil Spectre. You can grab their own lands. And you also get cards exiled. So Teferi going to go to the graveyard. Sword of Temptation. That's a very good wizard. And maybe Glenlandra Archmage? This is the creakiest chair ever. Jeez, come on now. Come on, chair. No need to be that creaky. Alright, what's the last one? I think it should be, I would say Void Mage Prodigy. He pretty much has no way to get his creatures back from the graveyard. Willbender? Oh, it's always Willbender. At least we know it won't be Willbender. That's important. I do like how this guy's going to take an extra 4 damage at the end of his turn because of Wound Reflection. And I do really like that. Let's see. We got Double Island on top. Nice. Just getting that value out of Oracle. Or we could attack the mono black deck with our Nightveil Spectre and see what he's got in here. Actually, that's a much better idea. That's what we're going to do. So he goes down to 22 here due to Wound Reflection. And we'll see how the game keeps going. The good news is he can't just cast Obnixilis and play a land to drain somebody. He doesn't have enough to do that without playing a land and casting Obnixilis. Azami going to come down. The ability to tap and untap wizard you control and draw a card does not care about Summoning Sickness. So she's just going to draw a card. Just going to play Azami and draw a card, which is really good for this type of deck. Well, now we'll see what our mono black deck's going for. Looks like it's going to be Mimic Vat, followed by Blood Vassal. Huh. Why Blood Vassal? Interesting. So as I said before, we're not going to lay a land yet. I want to see if we can grab a land off the top of our opponent's library here. So I'm going to suit up our Nightveil Spectre. Attacking at our mono black deck. We're not going to attack the Wizards deck because, I don't know, it's one of the two here. I'm more worried about the Wound Reflection, and since we're a blue-black deck, we have no way to deal with Wound Reflection. So we are going to attack the mono black deck and see what's on top. Hopefully a land. Relic of Progenitus on top. Sure. Why not? Here we'll play our own land and then play Dimir Signet. We can play this card for as long as Nightveil Spectre remains on the battlefield. So actually, pretty good one to hit, especially with this Mimic Vat. We might play it sometime next turn. We're more than likely going to play Coastal Piracy unless he casts Edric. If he casts Edric, we get to just start gaining a lot of life. He did take another 3 damage from Mana Crypt. Mana Crypt forces you to flip a coin during your upkeep, and you lose the flip. He deals 3 damage to you, so he's already taking 6 damage this turn due to Wound Reflection and Mana Crypt combined. Getting punished for running Mana Crypt. I love it. There's a reason why that card. I mean, like, you're pretty safe to run an EDH, but I just love that he's taking 8 damage a turn from it. Vesuva came into play to copy Command Tower. And now he's got Vidalcan Ori on top. Surprised he didn't actually grab the Reliquary Tower. This feels like it might have been a better card for someone that's going to draw their entire deck. Looks like we might be seeing a return of the Rogus. Nope, not that guy. Alright, who's coming down? Who's the next challenger? Is this a Green Sun Zenith? Looks like a Green Sun Zenith. Green Sun Zenith for 7. This is probably Avenger Zendikar. Yeah. Oh, it's Sylvan Primordial. Oh, to get rid of Wound Reflection. Okay. So he's going to grab our Dimir Signet. He's going to grab Wound Reflection. He's going to grab an island here. I think this is definitely the best play for him. Oh, he grabs the Lightning Greaves. Sure. This lets us put our Call of the Nightwing on Nightveil Spectre a lot easier, which is good for us. And he doesn't even destroy the Moon Reflection. He may have a Phantasmal Image for the Sylvan Primordial. No, he doesn't. Okay. Just interesting choice. Alright. So he's fine with taking the extra 3 damage. Cool. I'm a fan of that. I like not having to deal with a blue-green player for a while. our mono blue deck, Azami Lady of Scrolls, will have a lot of fun just kind of figuring out what to do here. I'm going to put Edric on the bottom and bring Mirko Vosk down to here just to expand the play area. This is Obnixilis. Azami is in play. I do want to keep track on what's on the top of his library. We know he has a lot of different cards. Mags of the Future coming down, another great wizard of the wizard tribe. Dismiss on top. Alright, so he is playing counterspells. I know a lot of mono blue decks play counterspells, but it's always important to know all the information available to you, and it's good to know that our opponent has dismiss. It'd be very dismissive to not give our opponent credit. That was really bad. I'm not going to apologize, though, because I still think it was funny. So Blood Vassal might actually just be sacrificed so our opponent can cast Obnixilis and then lay a land down. Especially with that Wound Reflection in play, Obnixilis just becomes an absolute truck and a force to be reckoned with, to say the least. Good news, Call of the Nightwing, very good with Coastal Piracy, and can block everything, so can't wait to do that as well. For 7 mana, we have Sepulchral Primordial, Sheoldred. Aw, Sheoldred, why? So Sheoldred's gonna force us to sacrifice our Nightveil Spectre without haste. How do we deal with that? Man, I hate Sheoldred. Alright. So we're not going to be able to use his Relic of Progenitus. Granted, we're not really going to... Oh, he can get back Crypt Gas, too. Yep. So, Sheoldred, the Whispering One. 5 double black for a Swamp Walking 6/6. Beginning of your upkeep, return a creature card from graveyard to the battlefield. Beginning of each opponent's upkeep, the player sacrifices a creature. There goes our beautiful... unique Sparkle Pony, Nightveil Spectre, going straight to the grave. Goodbye, Nightveil Spectre. It was great to have you. It was great to have you. So we can now play the politics game. We legitimately can't get through Sheoldred. We don't have ways to play more than 2 creatures. So what I'm going to do this turn is this. I'm going to cast Doth the Embrace. So target creature gains shadow until end of turn. And I'm going to do this. Although I may have you blocked, I'm going to try and... I'm going to unblock you now so I can talk to you, which is important. Hey, so this mono black deck, huh? Alright, this is what's known as collusion. We're going for it. He needs to have it in advance. Sure, I don't care. He needs that. He needs to know that we're not trying to cheat him out of this. Alright, I like it. I like it a lot. Ah, that's great. Absolutely great. We're going to lose 0 life. Wait, are we going to lose life? No. Like, during upkeep. Jeez, alright, calm down. How about, like, during main phase? That's really demanding. Alright, alright, alright. Here you go. Your Sylvan Primordial has Shroud. Just for you. During the upkeep. Boom! You got your shadowy, reachy Sylvan Primordial. Come on. Lose 3 life. Come on, miss the flip. Yes! He's going to take another 6 damage. I love this. So the worst part, not the worst part, but one of the funnier things that have happened because of the new legendary rules, if you clone a Sheoldred, the first person to clone the Sheoldred wins the Sheoldred game because of AppNap triggers. The active player goes on the stack before the non-active player. Well, the non-active player gets to return a Sheoldred because you have to have something go on the stack. Because while putting the trigger on the stack with Sheoldred, you have to target something. The other player cannot then return the Sheoldred with Sheoldred. So whoever clones the Sheoldred, what I'm trying to get to, sorry, is able to affect the game the most, which is awesome. Or destroy the other Shieldred, basically. So in Primordial, going to crash in. Come on now. There you go. Going to crash in for 6. Make sure we can beat down this mono black deck. He may be realizing that it might have been a better idea to get rid of Wound Reflection here, since he's going to take another 6 damage in total. But everyone learns. Takes a village, I guess is the way to put it. Also, Shieldred happens to have Swamp Walk, something we also can't deal with. Really missing this Lightning Goose right now. But it's not all bad. We are slowly getting our opponents to help us out in dealing with the Mono Black Menace on the board. The Mono Black player obviously being in the best position. So Widow is coming down, getting another Forest into play for the Edric deck. And Regal Forest. So he's going to draw 3 cards here. Yeah, 3 cards. Oh, 4 cards. He has 4 green creatures. That's great for him. He might even have a 1-drop that he can lose 2 life for. So he's going to go down to 10. We could kill him by giving Shieldred Shadow and attacking in. That's actually a really bad idea for us. We need his firepower to crack in against our Mono Black deck in order for us to be even have a remote chance to win the game, which we will win the game with this deck eventually. I know we will. Is it going to be this game? I have no idea yet, but I hope it is. I hope it's this game. I want it to be this game really badly. So we'll see what happens here. Cleanup step. He gets to discard something. It's an island. He's going to. Our Azami player is going to sacrifice at the beginning of upkeep. He's going to sacrifice the Magus to the future. That's interesting. I guess he wants to keep the draw power of Azami. He may have, again, Mind Over Matter in hand. Mind Over Matter, just an absolutely game-breaking enchantment. Amazing with Azami. So we'll see what happens. He is 1 away from Cyclonic Rift. When playing against blue decks nowadays, you just kind of got to assume they have Cyclonic Rift in hand. Is it annoying? Yes. But is it wrong? Usually not. Usually the best play to do. Glenalandra Archmage coming down. Alright, this is an amazing Fairy Wizard. This is one of the ones I thought was going to go into the graveyard, but I guess it was in his hand instead. For 3 and a blue, it's a rare Fairy Wizard. It's got flying 2/2. And for a single blue, you can sacrifice it to counter target non-creature spell, and it's got Persist, which means when this creature dies, if it didn't have a -1/-1 counter on it, return it to the battlefield with a -1/-1 counter on it. An amazing card from Shadowmoor? I think from Shadowmoor. Lorwyn Shadowmoor block being one of the best blocks ever in Magic. Just nigh unbeatable. Just super, super, super good. Crypt Gas coming back down for the Mono Black deck. Very dangerous. He's able to cast Obnixilis here, and then use Obnixilis' drain ability by laying a land. And then he could even just Exsanguinate with Wound Reflection out. Well, he can't Exsanguinate with Wound Reflection out because of Glenalandra Archmage. But he can use the Extort effect here. So he's going to deal at least... He's got 8 damage right now on Smile Pretty. As long as he has another spell in hand. As long as he has a land in hand and another spell in hand that costs 5 or less, he should be able to kill the blue-green deck. Which should be pretty much his only objective right now is killing the blue-green deck. It's the only person that's actually a threat to him. So he's got to deal us 1 more damage. That's it. If he can deal 1 more damage, he's home free. Well, the blue-green deck is dead. He's not home free. That's pretty much home free. We can't really do much about this current board state. And then again, he has Blood Vassal too. So Alright, looks like our blue-green deck skates here. We're not going to skate. We're going to take 16 damage at the least here. Well, 17 damage because of the one from Cryptcast. I'm assuming these are both coming our way. Unless he wants to leave them back for blockers. If he leaves them back for blockers... Oh, he's going to leave them back for blockers. He didn't have a way to kill him. Ooh, interesting. So, Smile Pretty going to go down to 2. He better not tap the City of Brass. Because that would be game. Alright. We're going to sacrifice a non-existent creature. And draw a Swamp. We're just going to Shadow Rift to draw a card, I think. You know what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can give Shadow, Shadow, Shadow. So that's 11. That's 13 damage here. Shadow, Shadow, Shadow. We have enough to draw a card with Shadow Rift. Yeah, so we're just going to leave up a bunch of Shadow. Like a lot of Shadow. Oh, he can also die during his upkeep because of Mana Crypt. I really hope he doesn't miss the flip this time. We need him to deal colossal amounts of damage here. Not to us, but to the mono black deck. And then he'll be killed by the Gwenlodge Archmage. That's the idea here. Come on, no whammies. Come on, no whammies, Mana Crypt. No whammies. Come on, baby. Come on. Is the game over? Oh, he lost the flip! No! The whammy! Oh, poor dude. Alright, so our mono blue deck's gonna just draw some cards here. Turns our hand into just absolute poop. And it was in the beginning. We were really depending on that guy to be able to come through for some damage. He's going to boomerang this Sheoldred at the end of his turn. I like that idea. Sheoldred going back to his hand. He must have what's it called in hand? We know he has Dismiss in hand. I guess he might just be looking to dismiss here, which is okay. That being said, we're now left open to take lethal. Can we take lethal here? If we take 9, that's 18, plus a swamp, that's 6, plus 18. Yeah, we can take close to lethal here. He may be looking just to dismiss the Sheoldred on the next drop, but we'll see what happens. Basically, our current game plan is number 1, be innocuous. That's what this deck does a lot of times. And just basically not look like a threat. And then number 2, try and get Call the Nightwing to start going. That's going to be one of our only paths to victory. So we're just going to recast Sheoldred. Okay, that's going to get dismissed. We are going to take some extort damage here, but there's no way this is resolving. I mean, he can even draw a card by countering the spell. Oh, this is more than dismiss. This counterlash? Time stop! Ooh, okay. That's a pretty authoritative no to you. We're going to draw a card in response with Shadow Rift. We already have Dothi Embrace in play. We don't really need this Shadow Rift. Terror creature gains Shadow. We get to draw a card. We're literally just cycling it right now. Ooh, Infiltrator Core. Great. So, Shoulder doesn't exist. It's now our turn. Time stop, one of the most eloquently worded cards ever. We'll cast Drifter Oldal here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll cast Infiltrator Ulcore as well. And we'll even leave up Dothi Embrace. Again, our game plan here to get Call the Nightwing to start going. So we can just have like a bunch of blockers for this Obnixilis. Because right now, as you may notice, the problem with Shadow, none of our creatures can block. Not a single one. Because they have Shadow. That's why they can't block. You know, the usual reasons. The cool thing about time stop, so that card time stop for blue and the turn, it has a lot of rules text unless you get the foil version. The foil version just being absolutely beautiful, but it does exile itself because of the end. Because the turn ends, it doesn't actually resolve. After resolution, because the turn ends, it doesn't have the chance to go to the graveyard, so it exiles itself, which is kind of cool. And then anything else that was on the stack gets exiled, and the turn ends. That's it. You just literally can't do anything else. It's fantastic. You can counter time stop though, so watch out for that. Let's see if Glendalander Archmage gets in for the beats. Hopefully not at us. Come on. Yeah! The Glendalander Archmage getting in for the beats. That's not a good sign for the Obnixilis deck, I can tell you that much. Now, Drifter Old Doll is a blue mana 2/1, and at the beginning of your upkeep you sacrifice unless you pay 1 blue mana. And Infiltrator Elcor, being a 3/1 with suspend for 1 and a blue for 2 turns, is a 3/1 with shadow. One of the highest attacking shadow creatures we have in the deck. So we got a land coming down for Obnixilis. This is probably not directed at us. Yeah, it's going at the mono blue deck, of course. Yeah, we definitely need to get this Call of the Nightwing Coastal Piracy thing going. If we draw a land, we'll be able to play both. But we need to play Call of the Nightwing into Coastal Piracy. We got Plagueman coming down. That's just going to be countered by Glendalander Archmage, I'm assuming. Our Azami deck doesn't really want this kind of stuff resolving. Oh, he's got a 4-mana counter. Dismiss coming down. So Dismiss is going to counter target spell, and he gets to draw a card. The Extort trigger does still trigger. This is also the danger of this mono blue deck, especially explicitly, because it can just basically draw the cards in its deck. If you give it the mana, it can play. It just has every single counter spell it ever wants. We have Rise of the Dark Realms. Oh gosh. All right. Well, he gets my Nightwing. He gets poop. Really hope this guy has Force of Will. Never thought I'd be saying that. He even gets to extort. Does this resolve? Come on. Pact of Negation. Force of Will. Please. Please? No! And that's probably game. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. You got Sower Temptation to take the Azami Lady of Scrolls. Oh. We even have other shadow creatures that can block our shadow creatures? That kills our whole deck design. Why would you do that to us? Why? Why would you do that? Consuming Vapors on the top of our mono black player's library. Alright, Liliana getting in there. Turns out the Liliana Ultimate for Liliana Vess is worth 9 mana. We can't block anything anyway, so we're just going to F6. 9 damage going, crushing it at Darth Zion. There's still a distinct possibility this guy has... What's it called in hand? Cyclonic Rift in hand. So, it's not game, it's just really close to game. We're going to pay a blue here. Really hope to draw a land. Draw a Dothy Warlord in hand. 100% not the same thing. I guess we just start getting Called Nightwing going. Oh, we're going to need blockers. He blocks whatever attacks through, though. Darn it. And we're not attacking Darth Zion. We could guess Coastal Piracy. I think we just... Stole our plan. He's got the plan. Man. So if we're anticipating evacuation, right? Evacuation is the only way we don't lose. So in that case, we're going to play to evacuation. We're going to cast Coastal Piracy here. Whenever a creature we control deals combat damage, we get to draw a card. We're just going to attack him with both of our Elcor. And then cast Dothy Warlord. And play to evacuation. It's legitimately the only thing we could do. Evacuation or Cyclonic Rift, that is. He's going to draw a card with Sage of Fables. Ash Dash is now on the top of the library. Oh, he's just going to draw a bunch of cards because he has a lot of wizards due to Azami Lady Scrolls. Alright, now we're just going to twiddle our thumbs then. Dread Cack Demon on top and everything. No blocks, so he does take 5 damage here. We get to draw 2 cards. Always yes and always yield. An island and a swamp. I like it. I like it a lot. We'll play the swamp. Play the Dothy Warlord. He comes down as a 4/1. Not bad. We can actually pump his power by giving other creatures shadow, which is kind of funny. Not something we're going to do, but something we can do if it's ever relevant. Also, just amazing art. Alright, come on, Mono Blue deck. I don't say this a lot, but we need you to do some things. We need you to do a lot of things here. Capsize first on the Solar Temptation with buyback. Is he going to take Obnixilis? He might take Obnixilis here. This gives him back his Azami Lady Scrolls. Once again, we are just explicitly playing to our outs. Our outs being this guy casting ways to get us out of this. He still has 8 mana available. That 8 mana could be anything. It could even be a boat. Probably not a boat, but it could be a boat. Well, the boat being Capsize. So now he doesn't immediately die to Obnixilis. He dies to an attack, but he doesn't die to Obnix. Yeah, he really needs Cyclonic Rift here. Cyclonic Rift returns everything to hand, including Lattice, Soul Ring, and Wound Reflection. Although if he did that, our opponent can then just play Cryptghast again and extort his way to victory. Capsize going down on our Somnophore. Very interesting. And Rhystic Study. Eesh. Is that it? You might be dead here. No. He's going to attack in for 3. We kind of want him to block with our Nightveil Spectre because we don't want to be hit with our Nightveil Spectre. So we're not going to give it shadow. We're not going to give it shadow. All right, doesn't even block. So he goes to 21. He's in the firm driver's seat for this game. We can't block any of his creatures. Once again, the only downside to having all your creatures have shadow. Although, if we want to block a specific creature, we can give it shadow to block with Dothy Warlord. There's some tricky things you can do in this deck. Then again, he's just going to cast Dread Caco Demon and kill everything. Like, it would take a lot for our mono black deck to lose here. It would take a miracle. At least from our side. We would need to not have discarded Quietus Spike a lot earlier. It would have been a much better play than Dothy Embrace. We could have then halved his life total with our Drifter Uldal and cards like that. And we would just be much better prepared for the situation. That being said, it looks like he's just going to extort his way to victory with Cryptghast on our mono blue opponent. Mirror the Curse coming into play, a play on the classic Weatherlight crew member. 2 double black for a Vampire 3/2 cat. It's got flying, it's got first strike, and it's got haste. And whenever it deals combat damage to a creature, put a +1 counter onto Mirror the Cursed. Alright, is he just going in? Is that it? Because we can save him. No. Yeah, no, that's not it. Okay, he's taking lethal. Yeah, we can't actually save him here. What we can do... Oh, we didn't have enough time to let this guy block the Looter core for us. So we serve back for 6-9 damage. Then again, he could always, again, cast Red Cacodemon to destroy all the creatures on the battlefield. All of your opponent's creatures, I believe, actually, which would be pretty scary. The good news is that when our mono blue deck dies, all of his creatures go with it, including Magus of the Future, Sage of Fables, Teferi, and just a whole host of other things. So it's us versus mono black. Mono a mono with mono black. He has a way to make a sacrifice a creature. He has a way to exile a creature in hand. Let's see what he does here. Sacrifice a creature with the rare sorcery out of Rise of Eldrazi, and exile with Sever the Bloodline from Innistrad. Both cards we've seen off of Magus' Future that we know are in his hand. Let's see what he goes for, though. There's a lot of different ways he can kill us. Like, let's be honest. Dread Cacodemon is going to be the one. Destroy all creatures your opponents control, then tap all other creatures you control. So all of our creatures go away when Dread Cacodemon comes in. It's a big ol' 8/8. We are at 27. He gave us a draw step. That draw step being Command Tower, the best card we have in our deck. That's a lie. We're going to cast this Somnophore. We're going to cast Call the Nightwing. We're going to suit it up with Call the Nightwing. And we are going to await our imminent death. So the reason why we're not conceding, I really dislike conceding when it comes to EDH. As someone who plays the format, it's always fun seeing how much damage your deck can do. That's why you'll never see me concede in the face of Craterhoof Behemoth. You'll never see me concede in the face of multiple overrun effects from Kamalphus Sakrosa. You'll never see me concede against the mono black player having everything. It's so much fun seeing what your deck can do that it's just not. It just sucks when your opponents concede early. It really, really, really does suck. So you'll never see us do it. I definitely want to see what this guy can bring to the table here. We're obviously dead on board, but we'll let him go through the motions. Good game. And just like that, the Dimir deck falls again. In response, actually, we're going to remove auto yields before blocks. We're going to... We actually can't give anyone shadow. That's the absolute worst. I wanted to. I wanted to real bad. Oh, good news. We were drawing Felwar Stone next, so we had it. Thanks for stopping by and checking out that game. You'll see a lot of games. Right now, I'm basically like, I'm going to be playing this deck till we win, because I know this deck can win. I really do know this deck can win. If we hadn't blown it with doing that silly that silly Mesmeric play, we probably could have won that game last time. Or someone mentioned in the comments, which was super smart, and I should have realized, if we had just always put Thalkos Mistfolk on the top of our library when we had 0 cards in our library, we would have been able to never die. Basically, the Mesmeric would have meant nothing. So definitely a misplay on our part. Something we should have realized. Then again, in that certain situation, that wouldn't have actually helped us because we still had cards left in the library. Either or, we'll figure out a way to get through this little slump of not winning a game. This deck will win. I know it'll win. If you like live EDH, feel free to stop by at twitch.tv/mtgradio. I do stream EDH on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 7:30 to 11 p.m. If you like EDH content on the web, you can find the Facebook under MTG Radio, the YouTube, which you're at right now, under MTG Radio. And thank you so much for tuning in. I do love EDH, even if we do lose. That game is actually really fun. I love seeing Rise of the Dark Realms coming down. That is why you never tap out to the fake out spell, which in that situation was Plague Wind. So have a great night. Thank you so much for stopping back. Like the squeakiest chair ever. Squeakiest chair. Have a great night, and hope to see you again.